Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are focusing on 3 tips to help you improve your sparring and ultimately your fight performance. And yes, these are tactics, these are tips that I have used in my own training to help me win all those belts behind me. If somebody has the technique, they have the overall skills, but they still feel like, shoot, I'm not really improving in my sparring, probably the reason is you're not working what I'm going to talk about today. So very important episode, guys. Make sure you stick around. All the info coming right after the intro. All right, it's not uncommon to feel like you're making progress and improving, and then you plateau. And you can plateau for a long time unless you do something about it. And in my opinion, the 3 things that I'm going to share today are factors that allowed me to make that jump upwards and not just stay plateaued, but make that curve upwards and continue to get better and better. And these are definitely not things that all gyms teach. And I know this for a fact because I've talked to other instructors, I've talked to other students who've been at other gyms around the world, and they say, no, we don't do any of these. But I do, I believe they're very important. So guys, let's get into tip number 1. And first off, guys, we are talking about drilling defense, solely drilling defense. I know a lot of people do certain drills where they have a little bit of defense incorporated, but I am talking about only doing drilling where you're on the end of punches and you're just non-stop blocking, and you guys should have seen me do this many times in some training clips throughout my YouTube videos. I'll throw up a little clip right now so you guys can check out what I'm talking about, because when you guys stop and you think about it, we are throwing about 50% of the techniques offensively, but then the other half we have to block. But when we go to the gym and we do our bag work, we do our pad work, we do our shadow boxing, how much defense are we really doing? It's a very small percentage. So it's very, very important that you guys take the time to recognize, oh shoot, you know, I've only done offense tonight. I'm going to take 10 minutes and work solely on my defense. When your defense is dialed in as your offense, it makes your fighting level just jump and jump and jump. And you can drill your defense numerous ways. I've talked about it many times. One of my favorite is to find a wall, put my back against the wall, get my hands up, sparring partner in front of me or drilling partner in front of me. He throws shots at me and I just stand there and I just work on the defense. There's no running. But then you can also just get into a ring and have somebody throw shots at you where you're able to angle, you're able to move your feet, and there's that whole new element that's added in. But first and solely, I like to just work getting really good right here where there's nowhere to run, just like you have your back against the ring ropes or your back against the cage. When you get confident with your defense, it helps you become so much better. Your offense improves, your footwork will improve, eyesight, just everything will get that much better. You'll become a next level fighter. If you guys have not already been doing solely defense drills, you need to start now. I cannot recommend this enough. All right, guys, point number 2, we are talking about sparring in comfortable situations so you can practice and actually pull off drills that you've been working. Think about how many times people block something like check the hook, counter, check, counter, and they do it over and over and over, but then they jump into sparring and the guys are going so hard and you're so worried about getting knocked out that you can't pull anything off. So while you will never hear me say never do hard sparring, I'm a big advocate for light sparring, sparring which is super chill, sparring where you can sort of open your mind up and take all the information you've been learning and try to execute it. And if you do or make a mistake, you're like, oh shoot, we practiced this last week, but I didn't just execute it. You can really focus in on the next time the opportunity presents itself. You will actually pull the trigger and you will execute. In hard sparring, you're never going to be able to practice these things in the same way because, like I said, we're always worried about getting knocked out. So we're just going to go back to our bread and butter. What are we best at? But when you want to improve, you want to grow as a fighter, you want to incorporate more knowledge, you need to be able to spar in relaxed settings where you can really open up and try something new where you're comfortable. And then once you can execute that, there's still a chance you won't be able to execute it in an uncomfortable position right away. But bit by bit, we go drill, spar in a comfortable situation, and then spar in an uncomfortable situation. But I think a lot of people forget that middle ground and they go right from drilling right to hard sparring. That's a big mistake, and that's why my tip number 2 is to make sure that you do comfortable sparring and then really relax your mind and try and focus on the drills you've been really wanting to pull off. And a quick pause, guys, before we move on to our third and final point. If you have not already, please give the video a like, get subscribed, and let's move on. And we are talking about using visualization during bag work and shadow boxing. And in particular, I picked only these two because these are usually solo training. And you can lose a lot of the benefit by just going into shadow boxing, just like, okay, I'm just gonna work, and I'm gonna work, and I'm gonna do some blocks, and I'm not really thinking about anything, I'm just practicing my technique, but I'm not really visualizing. What you should be doing when you are executing shadow boxing or bag work properly is imagining somebody in front of you. Like, okay, I throw the jab, I'm rechambering, shoot, they're coming with an overhand, okay, I block, I come with the upper hook, oh shoot, they're coming again, I roll under, and you're always imagining somebody in front of you. You know, you're bouncing, you're like, oh shoot, side kick, scoop it. And you want your brain firing like that. And when you really visualize during the bag work and the shadow boxing, it's going to again give you that opportunity to make that training time, which is normally not really improving you too much aside from the technique. It's really going to help you get better at sparring because you're actively thinking of an imaginary opponent. And that's what we want to be doing all the time. We want to improve in sparring so we can improve in our fight career if that's a path you choose. And then if that's something you do want to do, you can start winning fights and start winning the belts. But it's much harder to do if you're solely always relying on your sparring and your pad work as your time to really get an opponent in front of you. You want to think of all the opportunities you have during your shadow boxing and your bag work where there can be an imaginary opponent there, and you can really get your brain working, really work on all the drilling that you get to do, because when you're banging on a bag, you're like boom, 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 and you're not really thinking about defense. You're not going to pull that defense off the same way as if you were on a bag and you're like boom, 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 oh shoot, he's throwing a hook at me, block, boom, 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 block, because there's another hook coming, bang, bang, and you're always activating your brain in that way, which is going to help you very, very much in your sparring. These tips, guys, these 3 tips that I gave you today, goldmine of information that really helped me improve. I hope they really help you improve. It's not something like, you know, practice for a week and boom, you're going to be like, yes, my skill level just rocketed. Take some time, a month, 2 months, try and incorporate all of this, and I believe you will see solid improvement. I mean, I'm kind of my own testimonial. It's worked for me. It should work for you guys. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you haven't already, join the channel and get subscribed. Train hard, guys. I'll see you back here soon for another video.